Hello everyone, welcome back to CAMNES Studio. Before starting, I want to say two important things. First of all, if you have any question regarding archaeology or our ancient past, write to us at our email address, ask@camnes.org, okay? And we will try to reply to you on video, if the questions make sense, clearly. Then I want to inform our viewers, those who are mainly watching our English videos, that we have a lot of interesting Italian videos. You just have to selecting the little gear below the video, your subtitles, any language, clearly English, but really, I mean, there's so many languages you can choose from. It's fantastic. They're not perfect translation, as you can imagine, but you will get a very precise idea of what we're talking about, clearly, okay? Let's jump back to our incubation. So, what is the main topic of today? The ritual of incubation. Incubation? What is that? Let's discover it now. Okay, guys, the incubation ritual. Incubation comes from the Latin word incubare, which means mainly lying on, brood. It also has at the root of the word incubus, the nightmare. And we will see why more ahead in the video. So let's jump in immediately and try to understand what is this concept, which I find extremely fascinating. Clearly, we can't go too much in depth, okay? It's a very complex topic, but I did wanted to share this with you because I think it's very interesting, and then probably you'll go on and reading some articles and manuals and chapters on books and things like that, hopefully. That's the main purpose of these videos, actually. So what is the incubation ritual? The incubation ritual, very simply, is a process, a ritual, where someone decides to sleep in a specific place. We could say a holy place, a sacred place, usually a temple, actually. But we will see not only. And in fact, we have not only a very long preparation before doing that, as you can imagine. I mean, it's a complex ritual. Sometimes there's a pilgrimage towards specific areas, sanctuaries, sacred places, and then there's also a preparation, a purification in order to do this practice, this ritual, the final phase, at least, of the ritual of incubation. And in fact, we have mainly two types, we could say. The divinatory type, where you want to fall asleep in a specific place in order to have a divine message. Hopefully, you will receive a divine message, sometimes very clear, but in most cases, it's going to be like an oracle. So you're going to need a medium, someone who is going to interpret what you have dreamt in order to solve some question, issues, problems you have, or things you want to do, perhaps. There's so many aspects related to this. Plus, there's another value which got quite big in the end. It became even bigger than the divinatory type, is the therapeutic type, where you would go and follow this procedure in order to have some benefits, in order to heal from an illness, or perhaps find a solution to have a healing for your specific illness. Clearly, there are various nuances, but these are the two main types. In fact, where do we find mainly these? In history, we could say, I'll just give a few examples. One of the most ancient one is that found, for example, with a Neo-Sumerian ruler, Gudea of Lagash. And we're talking about 4,000 years ago, guys. The end of the third millennium. The most true and solid, grounded information in Egypt, we have to wait all the way down to the 4th, 3rd century in Ptolemaic period, the Ptolemaic period in Egypt, which clearly you're understanding that it's coming back in from the Greek tradition at that point, as you can imagine, Greek-Roman tradition. And in fact, incubation is mainly known from the Greek, also Roman, but mainly the Greek sanctuaries special places, sacred areas, things like that. Classical era in Greece. In fact, we have, I would say, mainly 3 types of sacred areas where we can find this. First of all, natural formations, special places that are greatly connected to the underground, to the earth, to the underworld also. Like, for example, there's a famous rock split at Olympia. But also a lot of sanctuaries where there were oracles, like the famous one of Apollo at Delphi. But Apollo was instead, he came after, because before the sanctuary at Delphi was dedicated to Gaia, which is Mother Earth. So not only that, also the Amphiareion of Oropos, which is a very famous place for incubation rituals, but not only, I mean, there's so many in ancient Greece, as you can imagine. Plus, as I was mentioning before, we have the more therapeutic type of sanctuaries. The most famous one is one of that of Asclepius at Epidurus. And stemming from that, we can say we have a plethora, so many types in Greece and outside connected to this cult, to the Asclepius. In fact, they're called Asclepeia. And there are very, very many where people were seeking to heal their illness, were seeking help for their sickness. And clearly, as you can imagine, that was the most requested, the greatest hits, we could say, of the time. But not only, I mean, also Corinth, Pergamon, Athens, there's so many, as you can imagine. It's interesting to know that this process went on and on. We find it also in the medieval times, for example, where we know that sick people, we have still that connection to the sickness, the illness, were prescribed, were somehow inclined to sleep within Notre Dame in Paris, in around the middle of the 13th century, in order to receive some kind of benefits and healing from their illness. And we can find this, actually, I find this very interesting also in psychotherapy, because what is this after all? The interpretation of dreams, what Sigmund Freud has canonized. But we have this coming from incubation. We can see a fil rouge, a connection coming all the way back from antiquity to today. Very, very interesting. Okay, guys, we've reached the end of the video. I don't want to make it too long. Please leave your comments. We are very interested below this video and any other. And maybe we can start a discussion on something. Thank you. And what else can I say? As you know, understanding the past explains the present and defines our future. Bye.
Hi, guys. If you want to discover more about archaeology and our ancient past from a different perspective, make sure to click on the CAMNES logo here below. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you will never miss an episode and join the archaeological community in search of the truth.